You don't see life as it is. You see life as you are. We are walking reflections of our own perceptions, silent architects of a reality shaped by stories we tell ourselves, memories we refuse to release, and fears we've mistaken for truth. Sometimes, life feels unbearable not because it is, but because of how we've learned to see it. A bad day becomes a bad life. A mistake becomes our identity. A single moment of pain becomes an endless loop of suffering. But what if everything could change? Not through force, not by fixing the world, but simply by seeing differently. What if the key to transformation isn't outside of you, but inside your own perception? This is not just a motivational message. This is a mirror. We will explore how shifting the lens through which you view your life can reshape your entire reality. How perception isn't just something you use to interpret the world, but the very force that creates the world you live in. This is your invitation to look again, not with the same eyes, but with a different soul. We all look at life through the lens of our past, our childhoods, our heartbreaks, the words that wounded us, and the silence that followed after. A child ignored grows into an adult who sees rejection in every glance. A person betrayed begins to question every form of love. A soul once made to feel small begins to see the entire world as towering and hostile. What we see is not always the truth. It's often just our pain wearing a mask. You wake up each morning and think you're seeing reality, but really, you're seeing your reflection, what you've come to believe about yourself and the world. Perception is not passive. It doesn't just receive the world. It shapes it. It edits it. It filters it based on the emotional history you've carried for years. And here lies the quiet tragedy. Most people never question what they see. They don't realize they're looking through foggy glass. Not because the world is unclear, but because the window of their own heart is stained with unhealed stories. Imagine standing before a mirror, but instead of your reflection, you see your future, a life of peace, love, and strength. Now imagine believing it was real. That's what perception. It's not just about how you interpret your world. It's the canvas upon which your reality is painted. When you believe you are powerless, the world confirms your weakness. When you carry shame, you see judgment in everyone's eyes. But when you begin to believe in your worth, your entire reality bends to that belief. The mind doesn't wait for truth. It builds a truth around what it believes. And the moment you change your beliefs, you've already started to change your life. This is not about lying to yourself. It's about freeing yourself from the lies that you've unconsciously believed for far too long. You're not unlovable. You're not broken. You're not late. You're just looking at your life through a story someone else gave you. It's time to write your own. Every human being is a storyteller, not just of novels or poetry, but of the quiet, invisible tale we repeat to ourselves every day. I'm not good enough. I'll never be truly loved. I always mess things up. I'm too late. I'm too broken. These aren't just thoughts. They are scripts. Scripts that frame how we walk through the world, how we enter rooms, start relationships, chase dreams, or give up before we begin. And the saddest part, most of these stories were never ours to begin with. They were handed to us by society, sculpted by parents who never healed, whispered by peers who were hurting too, or etched into us by the moments that broke us. But here's the truth no one tells us. You can change the story. You can flip the page even if your hands are shaking. You can speak a different narrative into the mirror. Because perception isn't just about seeing. It's about the story behind the seeing. And once you challenge the story, the entire lens begins to shift. Most people confuse the mirror with the window. They look out into the world and believe they are seeing life as it is. But they're not. They're seeing a reflection of their own self-image, projected onto the canvas of reality. When you believe you're unworthy, even love feels threatening. When you believe you'll be abandoned, even consistency feels suspicious. When you believe the world is cruel, kindness feels like a trap. It's not the world that needs to change first. It's the mirror. Because perception isn't neutral. It's tinted. It's curved by trauma, fogged by fear, cracked by shame. But when you begin to clear the glass, with therapy, with stillness, with truth, with grace, you start to realize maybe the world wasn't as cold as you thought. Maybe love was trying to reach you all along. Maybe peace didn't leave you, just stop looking for it. Changing your life isn't always about moving to a new city, or starting a business, or finding new friends. Sometimes it's as subtle and sacred as this, changing how you see, so you can finally see what's always been there. Sometimes the life we hate is still the life we cling to. Why? Because it's familiar. Because even pain, when predictable, can feel safer than the unknown. We stay in jobs that drain us. We hold on to people who make us feel small. We wake up in lives that no longer fit the shape of our spirit, but we keep going because the thought of something different feels like stepping off a cliff in the dark. This is how perception deceives us. It tells us this is just how life is. It whispers, this is all you're meant for. It convinces us that fear is wisdom and discomfort is destiny. But the truth is, most people are not stuck in their circumstances. They're stuck in their perception of those circumstances. They're not trapped in life, but in the meaning they've assigned to it. And once that meaning is questioned, once that illusion is broken, the prison door begins to open. The moment you become aware of how you see, you're no longer a prisoner to it. Awareness is the first quiet revolution. It doesn't scream. It doesn't need applause. It just notices. It notices how you flinch when someone offers you kindness. It notices how you prepare for rejection before anyone says a word. It notices how you sabotage peace because chaos feels more familiar. And when you notice, you begin to realize you are not your reaction. You are not your pain. You are the one watching it. That space between perception and self, that is where transformation begins. From that still place, you begin to rewrite how you interpret the world. You start catching the lies before they speak. You start pausing before you judge. You begin asking, is this real? Or is this just an old fear wearing new clothes? And that question alone can change the course of your life. Because perception, once conscious, becomes choice. And when you finally choose to see differently, you begin to live differently. No one ever teaches us how loud silence can be, how the words we don't say to ourselves can shape us more than the ones we do. The truth is, you're building your life right now, even if you feel stuck, even if nothing seems to move. Every thought, every belief, every small action is laying the bricks of your future. And the architect, it's not the world. It's you. But if your blueprint is based on fear, you'll build a life of defense. If it's based on unworthiness, you'll design something small, something safe. The shift happens when you stop building from the past and start creating from the future you believe in. You must become intentional with the inner voice, the quiet one that speaks when no one is listening, the one that either keeps you bound or sets you free. You're not just living, you're designing. And the life you end up with starts with what you believe you deserve. Let's go back, not to a place, but to a moment. The first time you felt like you weren't enough. It could have been a parent's disappointment, a teacher's comment, a lover's betrayal, a friend who turned away when you needed them most. That's when the seed was planted. I'm not worthy. I have to earn love. I must be perfect to be safe. And from that seed grew a world where you always questioned yourself, where joy felt fleeting, where you worked harder to be seen, to be chosen, to be kept. But that moment, that lie, was never the truth. It was just a wound that festered, and your perception adapted around it, protecting you, yes, but also blinding you. Healing begins the day you stop treating the lie like it's your identity. When you speak to that inner child and say, I believe you, but you're safe now. And it's okay to see things differently. You don't need to carry the lie into tomorrow. You're allowed to choose a new truth, even if your hands are trembling as you reach for it. It's one thing to wear a filter. It's another to forget you're wearing it. So many people go through life thinking they're seeing reality, but they're only seen through wounds, through expectations, through inherited beliefs. A man who grew up unseen will walk into every room, believing he's invisible. A woman who was once betrayed will hear lies in every truth she's told. And someone who's only known rejection will assume that love is temporary, a ticking clock waiting to abandon them again. These are not conscious choices, they're reflexes, and that's what makes them dangerous. Because the longer we look through a lens, the more it becomes our reality, our normal, our truth, our cage. But the miracle, we can break the lens, not overnight, not all at once, but moment by moment. Every time we question a thought, every time we slow down instead of react, every time we choose curiosity over fear. The lens may be strong, but it's not unbreakable, and you deserve to see the world and yourself clearly. Close your eyes for a moment, breathe deeply. Now imagine meeting the version of you who didn't give up, the one who learned to see things differently, the one who stopped apologizing for existing, the one who trusted their healing, the one who made peace with their past and walked forward even while trembling. What would they tell you? Maybe they'd say, it was never too late, or maybe you were never broken, just buried, or maybe just this, I'm proud of you for trying. We forget, sometimes, that the future isn't a place we stumble into. It's a person we become, and the only way to become that person is to begin now, by shifting your perception, to believe that something better is possible, to believe that even if you've wasted years in survival, your becoming is still unfolding. Perception creates reality, yes, but the heart behind the perception, that's what builds the life. So let it be one full of truth, full of faith, full of your own voice, and muted. There comes a strange and silent moment, not when the world changes, but when you notice that you have the same road, the same job, the same relationships, but your heart responds differently. Less panic, less attachment, more breath between the stimulus and your reaction. You catch yourself before spiraling. You speak gently to the voice that once screamed. You begin to say no when it costs your peace, and yes when it aligns with your truth. It's not loud, it's not cinematic, but it's powerful, because perception isn't always about seeing the world as different. Sometimes about realizing you no longer see it through the lens of your former self. That's when the shift happens, not when life bends to your will, but when you begin walking through it with a new kind of awareness. This is the moment your past loses its grip and your future becomes yours to shape. Every day, you wake up holding a pen, not metaphorically, literally. Your thoughts are writing, your choices are writing, your perception is writing the narrative of your life. And the question is, who is doing the editing? Is it fear? Is it someone else's voice still living in your head? Or is it you finally reclaiming the right to narrate your story? Too often we live as characters in our own lives, reacting, surviving, repeating. But change begins when you realize you can revise the story mid-sentence. You can tear out chapters filled with shame and replace them with pages of grace. You can stop writing tragedy and begin authoring transformation. Perception is not passive. It's an act of authorship. It's how you tell the world who you are, what you believe, and where you're going. And once you claim that authorship, not even your past can hold the pen again. You are not what has happened to you. You are what you choose to become despite it. That's what Viktor Frankl meant in Man's Search for Meaning, when he wrote that between stimulus and response, there is a space, and in that space is our power to choose. And in that choice lies our growth and our freedom. James Clear in Atomic Habits reminds us that every action you take is a vote for the kind of person you want to become. Even the small shifts matter, especially the small ones. And Michael A. Singer, in The Untethered Soul, shows us that we are not our thoughts. We are the awareness behind them, the witness who can observe, detach, and choose again. So, here's the advice. Begin again. Begin now. Let go of the lie that it's too late, or that your story is already written. It's not. Your perception is the lens, but your awareness is the light behind it. Shift the lens and everything changes. The world may stay the same, but the way you walk through it, that's rebirth. If this message found you in a quiet moment of doubt or in a storm of confusion, then this is your sign. You're not alone. You're not broken. You're awakening. If this resonated, don't keep it to yourself. Share this with someone who needs a reminder that change isn't about force, it's about perception. And if you want more reflections like this, subscribe to Untethered, because here, we don't just chase motivation, we search for meaning.